The Ethiopian government has for the first time rejected calls by the United Nations and the European Union for independent investigations into the deaths of hundreds of people during months of anti-government protest. Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn says that the country is able to carry out the investigations itself. Protesters from the Amhara and Oromia regions have been complaining about political and economic marginalization. The government has imposed a state of emergency in response to the protest. The country was hit by an unprecedented wave of demonstrations which began in November 2015, leaving dozens of people dead. Zimbabwe's President Robert Mugabe has called on people to defend the independence they won in 1980 after defeating colonialism. Speaking at the Independence Day celebrations in the capital Harare, Mr. Mugabe says, quote, "Fellow Zimbabweans, now we enjoy the fruits of our independence and we can call ourselves masters of our own destiny. We, however, need to be mindful that our assignment is not yet over. We have to constantly defend our independence so that it can have meaning." End of quote. Zimbabwe marks 37 years of independence amid a worsening cash crisis that has forced the Education Ministry to announce that school fees can be paid in the form of livestock or labor. President Mugabe has ruled Zimbabwe since leading the country to independence in 1980. Well, let's get more on the story from a career diplomat, Ambassador Kimfayomi. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you.
Now, what can you say Zimbabwe has achieved in the last 37 years as an independent nation?
Oh, Zimbabwe has come a long way, as we all know. One of the liberated countries in Africa. President Mugabe and Joshua Nkomo, all the rest of the old vanguards, they've done marvelously well. But of course, the story is not the same. If you look in the last few years. But previously, Mugabe was a shining light in Africa, one must say. But it began to decline from the 90s, 2000 and down to now. And the story is no longer rosy as it was when independence was obtained in 1980 from the British.
Now, Zimbabwe has been under the rule of one man since independence. Would you say this is a sign of a strong political structure?
This is exactly why I said that the decline started gradually. Definitely not. You can't have a dictatorship, whether it is soft or hard. A dictatorship is a dictatorship. Autocracy is autocracy. President Mugabe has been there way far too long. For 37 years, you can imagine how that has impacted on the lives of Zimbabweans, the economy, the political landscape. Everything has gone to shambles right now, and I would definitely put it to being staying too long. This sit-tight syndrome of African leaders definitely has not helped the cause of the country, Zimbabwe, at all.
Now, let's talk about the land reform policy of the ZANU-PF government. How has it affected the economy of Zimbabwe since independence?
In fact, that land reform killed the economy totally. If you remember the Lancaster agreement that was signed when Zimbabwe came to be in 1980, it conferred ownership of the land on whoever has it. And the majority there were the white landholders. But President Mugabe, in his wisdom, decided that the land reform was going to happen and they were going to distribute this land. That killed the economy. Most of this land were used for agricultural products. And the Zimbabwean indigenes were just not competent. They were not capable of managing these big agricultural farms, tobacco, grounds, the vineyards, and all that. It eventually led to the collapse of the economy. It was not a good idea at all. The policy should be reversed in good time so that Zimbabwe can come up to what it used to be.
Now, Ambassador, looking at President Mugabe's age, the frail nature of the leadership and the economic situation in the country, how soon do you think there will be a change in the political system?
That is a tough question. You can see that President Mugabe actually has a hold on the country. All right, he will not be there at the age of 93. You remember that his wife, they even said that he was going to rule as a corpse. And that before that he was going to rule in a wheelchair. All that is happening. I realized that when he was in Sunday a few weeks ago, the cabinet actually bought him a motorized wheelchair so that he can continue to govern. The opposition unfortunately is not also cohesive. The MDC of Morgan Shanghai, you remember the coalition in 2008. It was the Prime Minister when they were sharing power. President Mugabe notified us that they effectively, changed the way the opposition. They are in shambles. That is the problem. If we can have a good coalition like they had in the Gambia, which helped to change the way President Jammeh, then Zimbabwe can have somebody fit to take over from President Mugabe. Either Shangirai in coalition with Joyce Muju, the disgraced former vice president who has formed her own party. The coalition might be the way to go if Zimbabwe wants to see the end of the old man.
So finally, what lessons can other African countries who have sit-tight leaders learn from the situation in Zimbabwe?
In fact, there's nothing to learn in this kind of lesson. There shouldn't be anything like sit-tight syndrome. That is the problem we have in Africa. Our democracy has not really been well grounded. Or there's no need. Whatever you cannot do in 2 times of 4 years or 2 times of 5 years, I don't believe that sitting tight will be the situation. Look at all the sit-tight leaders. DRC, Uganda, Burundi, all of the Rwanda, Chad, Cameroon, Niger. There's nothing economically viable in what they are sitting tight there for. You can see that even being a sit-tight leader is anathema. It's not even something that the country should be proud of. So there's no need to be learning those things from people sitting down. It should be kicked out and let the country move forward.
Ambassador Akinfayomi, a career diplomat, Ambassador Akinfayomi, thank you so much for joining us on Network Africa. Still to come on the program, a township chef in Cape Town reinvents traditional South African food. Please stay with us for details.